Hello, I'm Orhan Gaybov. You're watching English news program on Azərbaycan Televiziya. The conflict between Israel and Iran continues to escalate. On the night of 15 June, both sides carried out reciprocal airstrikes, resulting in casualties and injuries. The Israeli military has announced a serious intent to expand the scope of operations against Iran. In response, Iran has threatened severe retaliation.
As a result of Iran's latest missile strikes on Israel, 8 people were killed and approximately 300 were injured. Widespread destruction of residential buildings has been reported in Tel Aviv, Petah Tikva, Bnei Brak, and Haifa. One of the missiles landed near the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv, causing structural damage. However, no embassy personnel were harmed. In Bnei Brak, missiles struck both a synagogue and a school. According to a statement from the Israeli military, since June 13, Iran has launched approximately 350 ballistic missiles toward Israeli territory, the majority of which have been intercepted. On the other hand, Israel has carried out another airstrike against Iran. According to the Israeli military, the targets in Tehran were command centers of the Quds Force, the elite unit of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The strikes were conducted based on precise intelligence provided by the military's reconnaissance directorate. Over the past 3 days, Israeli airstrikes in Iran have resulted in the deaths of 224 people, according to the country's Ministry of Health. The number of injured is reported to be approximately 1,280. The Israeli military intends to intensify its airstrikes.
Our operations will intensify to strengthen our security. As I've said before, difficult times are inevitable. Past challenges were different, but we know retaliation was unavoidable, so we're taking urgent measures.
Iran will take more decisive action if attacks escalate. President Masoud Pezeshkian stated at a cabinet meeting. The head of state emphasized that the assaults on his country are carried out with U.S. approval.
Israel knows no boundaries. They strike anywhere with U.S. approval. Israel can do nothing without our consent, said U.S. Special Envoy Witkoff in a conversation with Dr. Archie. This implies that these attacks were also carried out with America's authorization.
Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has declared that Israel is waging a war against all of humanity. This is not merely a war against Iran. It is a war against humanity. It is a war against the UN Charter, the rule of law, and the very values for which humanity strives, stated Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghei. He called on the United Nations Security Council to adopt a resolution condemning Israel's attack on Iran.
Will the United States join the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel? U.S. President Donald Trump addressed this question, stating that the parties involved in the conflict must, at times, resolve their issues independently. Trump expressed hope that a negotiated agreement will ultimately be reached.
Well, we get along very well, and I will tell you that I think we have great respect for each other. Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens, but sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Citizens of Azerbaijan have been evacuated from Iran. Ayxan Hacızadeh, spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, reported priority was given to facilitating the crossing of 41 Azerbaijani nationals, including family members of embassy staff, through the Iran-Azerbaijan border. Incoming calls to the hotline continue to be addressed and necessary measures are being taken. The embassy and the consulate enterprise remain operational. A summit of the G7 nations is underway in the remote Canadian district of Kananaskis. Leaders from the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, along with representatives of the European Union are discussing a broad array of global and regional issues. Amid ongoing tariff wars, the agenda has also incorporated the escalating conflict between Iran and Israel, which intensified 3 days ago. Participation from several partner countries and international organizations is also expected. Notably, the G7 countries collectively account for approximately 44% of the world's GDP, around $47.3 trillion. The 51st summit is scheduled to conclude on June 17. Amid the Israel-Iran conflict and the consequent closure of airspaces, over 100 international flights have been diverted to Baku Airport. 13 of these flights were specifically routed to Heydar Aliyev International Airport. According to Azov's press service, the airport facilitated the arrivals in full compliance with safety and passenger comfort standards alongside official logistical coordination. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us, and goodbye.